School's in session yet again. Welcome to another edition of the He's and Who cast with your nigga, Bread versus Yoga. Powered by AnimalHeezy.com. I highly advise you to visit AnimalHeezy.com at your earliest convenience and invite yourself to betterness. Alright, so the war between Shaq and Javale McGee has finally broke out. We got tweets, we got declarations of dick eating, we got threats, we got on my mamas. This is all the type of lowbrow shit I'm looking for after All-Star game to get me through to the playoffs, man. I am here for it. I am present and accounted for. My God, nigga. I don't know, man. I want to get this out the way. KD done already jumped his bitch ass in it and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if the whole police shit was funny when he said, damn, I didn't know police could be threatening civilians like that. Yo, that is funny as fuck. But I'm on my Riley shit like, you still a bitch. Alright? Cause then he repeated the joke at the end of his little rant and shit. And it's like, Kevin Durant, get it? But I don't. You still, bro. You taking up for a nigga that ain't even gonna be on the squad next year, nigga. Even if they win the ring, nigga, they gonna ship his ass out when they finally figure out how to feel in the middle again. But I think what's interesting about this shit, this Shaq and JaVale McGee. First off, it's like a war of niggas with bad names, like Shaquille versus JaVale. Like, those are two horrible made up fairy tale names. They sound like fucking ghetto Irish names or some shit. But more interesting than that though is, and even more interesting than JaVale McGee telling Shaq to eat a dick, is that this shit becomes interesting because it's hard to pick a side. It's hard to see who's really right, who's really wrong in this shit, you know? Because I mean, I'm a fan of JaVale McGee. I think I shouted him out on the last pod or the pod before that, but I shouted him out. I'm a JaVale McGee apologist, even largely because he ain't finna apologize for his damn self. But apologist because he's a good player, but he does wildly questionable shit on the floor, as highlighted by Shaq and the Fool. I mean, Cuz been on there like 15 times already. Like, I that's not an exact figure. I ain't look up the stats. I ain't look at basketball references to see his Shaq and the Fool appearances. But it's been about 15 times, like a legit 15 times. So at what point does personal accountability come in? Because he a good player, but he stayed doing some wild shit, unindicative of a person that's getting paid millions of dollars to take his fucking job serious. He has those little retard lapses. I mean, I ain't really mad at it because he's still a decent player. But I think so much of this shit with JaVale, what it has to do with is that I think the nigga is kind of the epitome of ambition that goes beyond your means. And by that I mean he's a good player, but his body is so long and lanky and his movements are so awkward that he can't help him fuck himself but to be awkward. But in his heart, he feels like he's one highlight away from being the superstar that's been hiding under our noses this whole time. And his body's like, no, nigga, you awkward. I know about this shit. Which is why I do podcasts and music and shit, because my movements was too awkward for me to finesse, contracts out of niggas and shit. But, all these appearances and shit, and then the first time they had him on Shaq and the Fool, or the first time the Inside the NBA brought JaVale McGee on to interview with everybody, to kind of show good nature, to kind of, extend the olive branch to kind of be like, hey, we just playing, dog. Shaq is like, hey, man, we just playing, but if you fucking up, we gotta get you. But, it's all love. And even in that first little encounter between them, he said, I wish you much love and success. And Javale was acting salty back then. Like, it's hard to say that the root of this ain't him not being able to take a joke, him not even being able to laugh at himself, because it's literally himself that is the inspiration for all of this shit. Like, he made Shaq the fool. He should be talking shit like, I put your platform on. I made your shit pop. But I feel like he took it wrong from day one and called it Shaq the Coon, even when Shaq is trying to be like cool with him and shit, calling the show Shaq the Coon, telling Shaq he old as dirt, you know what I'm saying, not cracking a smile and shit. Like, damn, bruh, get off your own dick for a second, bruh. You've been marginal, you a decent player, but you've been too marginal to have such an ego about this shit. But I also don't mind the gold standard that these NBA legends hold niggas to. Like, I like that shit. Like, just because a nigga won 5 rings, 4 rings, whatever, 3 rings, however many rings, just because a nigga got accolades don't mean that they automatically right. And whoever the subject that they're talking about should be discounted. But I like the fact that it's winners, it's champions, it's legends that's holding this generation, especially a generation where they say that the players are underdeveloped, they're coming in the league too fast, they don't know the game, they AAU hoopers. I like it. I like them holding these kids to some kind of standard, because I also participate in music and shit, and music is a whole lot different. Rap is a whole lot different, where you don't have, where the legends try to hold the up-and-comers to a new standard, or not to a new standard. When they try to hold the up-and-comers to like a gold standard, the young niggas ain't having it, and the young niggas damn near, they voice drowns out the old niggas, and then this old nigga go home. But in the NBA, where, the legends and the people who have these accomplishments, have these accolades, did pave the way, they are held in their high regard, they are held in their high reverence. And I like that he uses his platform to challenge them to make the game better, to elevate the game for the next league of legends. So I can't be mad at that. I think all of this shit started, I'm not sure, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, it started with the Doctor Strange promo that was like featuring JaVale McGee and shit. And it's also kind of hard not to feel like, all right, now y'all just picking on the nigga. Like, yeah, he earned it, and it's no but y'all picking on the nigga, man. Even Steve Kerr said before JaVale came to the team, he had a preconceived notion of what JaVale was like as a player. And we all know where the preconceived notion come from. Like, most of us, casual to non-casual fans and shit, heard of JaVale McGee first on Shaq the Fool. So, shit. And when they make the argument that, like, constantly featuring him on Shaq the Fool in that way, and kind of turning him into a joke instead of Shaq the Fool being a joke, kind of, fucks up his livelihood, his chances to move between teams and shit, even though he did end up on a pretty good fucking team. I don't know, and he's having a decent season and shit. But I can understand how that'll fuck up your livelihood. If Golden State ain't in this Andrew Bogut, David Lee, everybody, all they big men get shipped out to bring KD in and shit, even though I know David Lee was gone the year before that. If that shit don't happen and they ain't just desperate for big men, I don't know if JaVale McGee shit, has a job in the NBA. Shit, I don't know, man. Centers, they giving away centers these days. You feel me? Shout out to Nerlens Noel. Shout out to DeMarcus Cousins. But yeah, man, and I can understand this shit would affect a nigga livelihood. It's almost like a nigga trying to fuck with how you eat. And I can't say he's wrong for feeling the way about it, or wrong for, you know what I'm saying, finally standing up. But I feel like he also made himself a target to begin with when he came with the wrong energy when niggas was trying to reach out to him and shit. So I don't know. I don't know. I just know KD's still a bitch. You know? But Shaq and the Fool is supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to provide a little brevity in between sports highlights that they do on Inside the NBA. And Inside the NBA is a fun show. Have you never watched the show? Like, they crack on each other. Like, Charles Barkley takes all of Shaq shit all the time. All of the stay out of this, you don't have a ring. Or, you know, you kiss Dick Bavetta. Or even with LeBron getting on his ass and getting really personal about some shit that wasn't personal. Chuck just take it with a smile and keep talking that Chuck shit. Like, you know, where your skin at, man? Where your skin at? So they have fun with it. They crack on each other. They do little fun segments. EJ's Nito stat of the night and Underdog put that on a t-shirt. The whole thing is fun. And I think it might get this far because at a certain point when you start acting like the sensitive nigga that can't take a joke, that's where everybody piles on you and shit. And I think it sort of starts when you come into the gate. Niggas try to extend the olive branch. Niggas reach out to you. Niggas try to wish you well. And you still, you know, slapping their hand away and shit. So, I don't know. Did I just take a side, actually? I don't know. But I still see it from both angles and shit. So, that's my baked take on that. I'm going to get back to getting baked. Easy bake. Bake. Baka. Nah, man. AnimalHeezy.com. Catch y'all on the next one.